The big metal doors of the Galactic Council chamber opened with a loud noise. Ambassador Jake Morrison walked into the room with slow, steady steps. His black suit looked simple next to the bright colors and strange shapes of the alien delegates around him. Behind him walked Admiral Lisa Campbell and Dr. Amanda Foster. All three humans kept their faces calm, but their eyes were hard. The council chamber was huge. It could hold 1,000 beings from different worlds. The ceiling went up so high that Jake could not see the top. Bright lights came from crystals that floated in the air. The walls showed moving pictures of different planets and star systems that belonged to the council. Jake looked at the half-circle of seats where the alien delegates sat. Each species had their own section. The Zethkari looked like giant bugs, with sharp claws. The Altarians were made of living crystal that changed colors when they talked. The Vorthak had blue skin and 4 arms. Many other strange beings filled the chamber. At the center sat Speaker Zethkar. He was the leader of the council and belonged to the bug-like Zethkari race. His body was as big as a small car. His 6 legs clicked on the metal floor when he moved. 2 long antennae came from his head and moved back and forth. His 4 eyes looked down at the humans like they were small insects. "The human delegation will approach the speaking platform," Zethkar said. His voice came out as clicks and whistles, but the translation device made it sound like rough, angry words. Jake walked to the small platform in front of the council. His boots made quiet sounds on the smooth floor. He put his hands behind his back and looked up at the alien faces around him. Some looked curious. Others looked angry. Most looked like they thought humans were not important. "Ambassador Morrison," Zethkar began, "the Galactic Council has decided on the final terms for human membership. These terms are not open for discussion. You will accept them or face the consequences." Jake did not speak. He waited. Zethkar picked up a metal tablet. "First, all human colonies beyond the Sol system will be placed under Council control. Second, Earth will provide 50% of its food production to the Council each year. Third, no human ship may travel faster than light speed without Council permission. Fourth, all human military forces will be reduced by 75%. Fifth, a Council governor will be placed on Earth to make sure humans follow these rules." The chamber was quiet. Jake could hear his own heart beating. He looked back at Lisa and Amanda. Lisa's face was red with anger, but she did not move. Amanda was writing notes, but her hand was shaking. "These terms are not reasonable," Jake said in a clear voice. "They would make humans slaves, not members of the Council." Zethkar's antenna moved faster. "Your species is young and dangerous. You have been part of galactic society for only 50 years. You start wars. You refuse to follow rules. You think you are equal to species that have existed for thousands of years." A delegate from the Crystal Altarians stood up. "The humans destroyed the Corvan pirates in only 3 months. No other species could do that so fast." "That proves they are too violent," said a blue-skinned Vorthak. "They enjoy fighting too much." Jake stepped forward. "We ended the Corvan threat because you asked us to. We saved your trade ships. We protected your colonies. And now you want to punish us for being good at solving problems." "You solved the problem by killing everything," Zethkar said. "That is not the Council way." "The Council way left the Corvan pirates free for 20 years, Jake replied. "Your way meant innocent beings died every day while you had meetings and made speeches." The chamber filled with angry sounds from different species. Some aliens made clicking noises. Others roared or whistled. Jake waited for them to get quiet. "The terms are final," Zethkar said. "Accept them now, or leave this chamber and never return." Jake looked around the room one more time. He saw fear in some faces. The aliens were afraid of humans, but they were also afraid of what would happen without humans. Humans fixed problems that the Council could not fix. Humans made things work better. But the Council wanted to control humans instead of working with them. "Admiral Campbell," Jake said without turning around. Please record this moment for Earth Command. Lisa took out a small device. Recording, sir. Jake looked straight at Zethkar. The United Earth Federation rejects all of these terms. We reject the authority of this council to make rules for humans. We withdraw from all peace talks, starting right now. The chamber exploded with noise. Aliens jumped up from their seats. Some shouted in languages the translation devices could not handle. Others made threatening gestures with claws, arms, or tentacles. You cannot just leave, Zethkar screamed over the noise. His voice was so loud it hurt Jake's ears. Your defiance will bring war. The council has armies. We have weapons. You cannot imagine. Jake started walking toward the door. Lisa and Amanda followed him. Their steps echoed in the huge chamber. We have been preparing for this day longer than you know, Jake said without stopping. You had your chance to treat us as equals. You chose to treat us as children. Now you will learn what it means when humans stop playing by your rules. The three humans reached the big doors. Jake put his hand on the control panel. The doors started to open. This is madness, shouted an Altarian delegate. Humans, please reconsider. Think about what you are doing. Jake turned back one last time. We thought about it for 50 years. We offered friendship. We offered partnership. You offered slavery. He looked directly at Zethkar. Good luck solving your problems without us. The doors closed behind them with a final loud bang. 3 weeks had passed since the humans walked out of the council chamber. Captain Dan Phillips stood on the bridge of the Earthship UES Montana. Through the big window, he watched the last transport ship leave the surface of New Geneva Colony. The ship was full of human families who had lived on this planet for 20 years. Sir, that's the final transport, said Lieutenant Katie Barnes. She was young, only 25, but she had been trained well. All humans are off the planet. Dan nodded. New Geneva had been home to 2 million humans. They had built cities, farms, and factories. Now they were leaving everything behind. The automated systems would keep the farms running for a while, but without humans to fix them, they would break down soon. Send the shutdown signal to all facilities, Dan ordered. Make sure nothing useful gets left behind. On the planet below, massive machines began to shut down. The food processing plants went dark. The power stations stopped making electricity. The water treatment centers turned off their pumps. In a few hours, a planet that had fed 17 different alien species would produce nothing. Katie looked at her computer screen. Captain, we're getting messages from alien ships. The Altarian trade fleet is asking why we're leaving. They're offering to pay us 3 times the normal amount for food shipments. Tell them the contracts are ended, Dan said. All human trade agreements are now void. At the same time, similar scenes were happening across the galaxy. On Kepler, Prime, human mining operations shut down their equipment and sealed the tunnels. The rare metals they had been digging up were needed to make faster-than-light engines. Without those metals, many alien ships would be stuck in their home systems. Colonel Steve Johnson watched his soldiers load the last equipment onto transport ships. Kepler Prime had the biggest human military base outside Earth's solar system. The aliens thought it was just a small outpost, but it was actually a major command center. Now, it was empty. Sir, the Dreknari Empire is sending urgent messages, reported Sergeant Kelly White. They want to know why we're pulling out our military. Advisors. Steve smiled coldly. Let them figure out their own wars. The Dreknari had been fighting the Hegemony Coalition for 5 years. Human military experts had been helping both sides, trying to make the war end with fewer deaths. Without human help, the war would get much worse and last much longer. On the Merchant Station Gamma 7, Commander Rick Torres supervised the removal of all human technology. The station was a major trading hub where ships from 50 different species came to buy and sell goods. Humans had built most of the computers and communication systems that made the station work. Commander, the station manager is begging us to stay, said Engineer Bob Carter. He says the station will collapse without our tech support. Not our problem anymore, Rick replied. Pack up everything. Don't leave so much as a spare computer chip behind. The aliens on the station watched in growing panic as human technicians removed critical equipment. The main computer system started showing error messages. The artificial gravity began to fluctuate. The air recycling system made strange noises. Back on Earth, General Peter Hayes stood in the Situation Room deep under the Pentagon. Huge screens showed the progress of the withdrawal from human colonies across the galaxy. Green lights showed successful evacuations. Red lights showed areas where aliens were trying to stop humans from leaving. General, the Council is sending warships to 3 of our colonies, reported Colonel Nancy Ford. They're demanding that we continue our treaty obligations. Any resistance? Peter asked. Negative, sir. Our people are following Protocol 7. Complete withdrawal with minimal confrontation. Protocol 7 was a plan that had been developed in secret over many years. It called for humans to abandon all positions outside their core systems if relations with aliens became hostile. But it was much more than just running away. It was the first step in a larger strategy. Admiral Lisa Campbell entered the situation room. She had just returned from the failed peace talks. Her face was tired but determined. How are we doing, Peter? She asked. Ahead of schedule, Peter replied. 93% of our people are already back in human space. The aliens are starting to panic. Lisa looked at the big map that showed human and alien territories. Phase 2 ready? Just waiting for your order. Lisa took a deep breath. Begin Phase 2. Cut all communication links. Across the galaxy, human communication stations went silent. The quantum entanglement networks that allowed instant messaging between star systems shut down. Many aliens did not know that humans had built most of these networks. They thought communication was just something that existed naturally. Within hours, alien governments lost contact with their colonies and trade partners. Military fleets could not coordinate with their commanders. Merchant ships got lost because they could not receive navigation updates. On the planet Centauri 4, the local government tried to keep the human-built factories running. Without human technicians, the robots started making mistakes. A food processing plant began producing poison instead of medicine. A vehicle factory started making cars without wheels. We need the humans back, said Governor Maltech to his advisors. Nothing works without them. But the humans were gone. Every single human in alien space had vanished in less than a month. They had taken their knowledge, their equipment, and their skills with them. The Galactic Council called emergency meetings, but they could not agree on what to do. Some wanted to attack human space and force them to come back. Others wanted to negotiate. A few smart ones realized that humans had been planning this withdrawal for a long time. Speaker Zethkar received reports from across the galaxy. Food shortages were starting on 12 planets. 7 star systems had lost their main communication networks. The war between the Draknari and Hegemony was getting worse without human peacekeepers. How long can they survive without galactic trade? Zethkar asked his military advisor. Unknown, Speaker. Our intelligence shows that human space is more developed than we thought. They may not need us as much as we need them. For the first time, since the peace talks failed, Zethkar began to worry. The humans had not just walked away angry, they had walked away prepared. 6 months had passed since humanity disappeared from galactic society. The council chamber looked very different now. Half the seats were empty. Many species had stopped sending delegates because they were too busy dealing with problems at home. Speaker. Zethkar looked tired and old. His once shiny shell was now dull and cracked. His antenna moved slowly like he was sick. Around him, the remaining delegates argued loudly about what to do. My people are starving, shouted Ambassador Veltash of the Alterians. Her crystal body flashed angry red colors. The humans provided 60% of our food. Our children are dying while you sit here and do nothing." The Vorthak delegate stood up on his four legs. "The mining operations in our system have completely stopped. We cannot maintain our ships without the rare metals the humans were extracting. The war in Sector 7 has spread to 4 more systems," added the representative from the Hegemony Coalition. "Without human peacekeepers, we cannot control the fighting." Zethkar raised one of his claws for silence. "The humans will return when they realize they cannot survive alone. They need galactic trade as much as we need them." "Are you sure about that?" asked a new voice. Everyone turned to see Commander Quindal, the Council's head of military intelligence. He was a tall, thin being with gray skin and large black eyes. He rarely spoke in council meetings, but when he did, everyone listened. "What do you mean?" Zethkar demanded. Quindal activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. It showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Red dots marked human colonies that everyone knew about. Blue dots showed alien systems. "This is what we thought human space looked like 6 months ago," Quindal said. 17 colonies spread across 2 spiral arms, small, manageable, dependent on us for trade and protection. The map changed. Suddenly, hundreds of green dots appeared across 3 spiral arms. There were human outposts and bases in places no one had imagined. "This is what human space actually looks like," Quindal continued. "Our intelligence networks have been working for months to gather this information. The humans have been lying to us for decades." The chamber fell silent. Even the argumentative delegates stopped talking. Zethkar leaned forward. "Explain." "The humans called them exploration missions," Quindal said. "We thought they were just curious about empty space. We laughed at their primitive survey ships. But they were not exploring. They were expanding." The map zoomed in on one sector. It showed a system with 3 planets that the Council had marked as uninhabitable, but the green dots showed massive human installations on all 3 worlds. Base. Gamma 7 has been operating for 15 years, Quindal explained. It has shipyards, factories, and mining facilities. The population is over 5 million humans. We never knew it existed. More images appeared. Secret bases hidden in asteroid fields, underground cities on dead planets, massive space stations that looked like empty rocks from the outside. How? Many people? Zethkar asked quietly. "Our best estimate is that humans have been hiding 70% of their actual population from us. What we thought was a species of 8 billion is actually closer to 30 billion. The Alterian delegate's crystal body turned pale white. 30 billion? That is larger than our entire species. It gets worse, Quindal said. Look at this. The display showed technical blueprints of human ships, but these were not the simple designs that aliens had seen before. These ships were sleek, powerful, and built with technology that looked decades ahead of anything in the galaxy. "Where did they get this technology?" demanded the Vorthak representative. "They made it themselves," Quindal replied. "While we were focused on controlling them, they were focused on advancing. Their scientists have been working in secret facilities for 50 years. They have made breakthroughs in faster-than-light travel, quantum computing, and nanotechnology that we are only beginning to understand. Admiral Jake Patterson had been commander of the human fleet that the Council knew about. But the real human fleet was 10 times larger and 100 times more advanced. Show them the Prometheus Project," came a voice from the chamber entrance. Everyone turned to see a small delegation of humans walking into the chamber. They were not the same humans who had left 6 months ago. These humans wore uniforms made of materials that seemed to shift and change color. Their equipment looked smooth and organic, like it was grown rather than built. The leader was a woman with short brown hair and calm blue eyes. "I am Commander Nicole Reed of the Terran Defense Fleet. I am here to deliver a message." Zethkar's mandibles clicked angrily. "You have no right to be here. Security, remove these humans immediately." "Your security systems have been disabled," Nicole said calmly. "Please observe." The chamber's lights flickered and changed color. The holographic displays showed new images that Nicole was controlling with a small device in her hand. The aliens realized that the humans had somehow taken control of the Council's own technology. The Prometheus project began 30 years ago, Nicole explained. It was our plan for complete independence from galactic society. We knew that eventually, species like yours would try to control us. So we prepared. The display showed images of enormous human ships emerging from hidden shipyards. These vessels were twice the size of anything in the Council fleet. They moved, with grace and power that made alien ships look like ancient relics. While you debated our worthiness, we built a civilization that does not need you, Nicole continued. We have our own trade networks, our own resources, and our own technology. The colonies you knew about were just the parts we wanted you to see. The hegemony delegate stood up shakily. What do you want from us? Nicole smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. We want nothing from you. We are here to offer you something. What? The chance to join us before you destroy yourselves completely. She gestured to the display, which now showed real-time images from across the galaxy. The war in Sector 7 had spread to 8 systems. Famine was killing millions on 12 planets. The galactic economy was collapsing without human trade and technology. Your civilization is falling apart, Nicole said. Your wars are spreading, your people are dying, your technology is failing. This is what happens when you rely on others, instead of building your own strength. Zethkar's voice was barely a whisper. What are you proposing? In 7 days, the Terran Federation will begin accepting applications for protectorate status, Nicole announced. Species that join us will receive advanced technology, military protection, and economic prosperity. Those that do not will be left to face their problems alone. She turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Speaker Zethkar? The next time you want to offer someone slavery and call it membership, make sure they actually need what you are offering. Humans walked out of the chamber, leaving behind a room full of aliens who finally understood the magnitude of their mistake. 1 year had passed since humans walked away from the Galactic Council. The galaxy was burning. Commander Sarah Blake stood on the bridge of the TFS Odyssey, watching the destruction of what used to be the Draknari capital world. The planet's surface glowed with the fires of a war that had consumed 3 star systems. Without human peacekeepers to maintain the ceasefire, the Draknari Empire and Hegemony Coalition had destroyed each other. How many survivors? Sarah asked. Less than 10 million on both sides combined, reported Lieutenant Mike Torres. The rest are dead or refugees scattered across 40 planets. Sarah shook her head. 1,000 years of civilization, gone in 12 months. The war between the Draknari and Hegemony had been manageable when humans were involved. Human diplomats had arranged ceasefires. Human military advisors had prevented the worst atrocities. Human technology had made surgical strikes possible instead of planet-killing weapons. Now, with humans gone, both empires had used every weapon they had. Biological warfare had poisoned entire worlds. Nuclear weapons had turned planets into radioactive wastelands. Worse, both sides had started using ancient weapons that even they did not fully understand. Captain, we're receiving a distress call from the Vega system, Mike continued. The locals are requesting immediate humanitarian aid. Negative, Sarah replied. We are observers only. New orders from Earth Command are clear. No intervention in alien conflicts. The new policy was harsh but simple. Humans would not save alien species from their own mistakes anymore. The galaxy had to learn that actions had consequences. Dr. Amanda Foster was working in her laboratory on the Human Research Station Deep Space Nine. The station was hidden in an empty region of space, invisible to alien sensors. For the past year, she had been leading breakthrough research that was making humans more powerful than anyone imagined. Test results are in, said her assistant, Dr. Ben Cooper. The new quantum engines are 40% faster than anything we built before, and the alien species still do not know how we make them work. Amanda looked at the data on her screen. Human technology had advanced more in 1 year of isolation than in the previous 50 years of galactic cooperation. Without aliens demanding access to human research, scientists could focus on pure advancement. What about the nanotechnology project? Amanda asked. Beyond expectations, Ben replied. We can now repair damaged ships and equipment at the molecular level. Healing time for injuries has been reduced by 90%, and the new materials are stronger than anything in known space. The breakthrough had come from studying alien biology without alien interference. Humans had learned to copy the best features of different species and improve on them. The result was technology that seemed like magic to those who did not understand it. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council was dying a slow death. Speaker Zethkar sat alone in his private chamber, reading reports from across the galaxy. Each one brought worse news. The Altarian Consortium had lost 60% of its population to starvation. Their crystal-based biology needed specific minerals that only human farms had been able to provide efficiently. Now, most Altarians were slowly dying as their bodies lost the ability to process energy. The Xerion Mining Collective had been forced to abandon 15 star systems. Without human extraction technology, they could not reach the deep deposits that made their civilization possible. Their remaining worlds were overcrowded and running out of resources. Most painful of all, 17 smaller species had simply vanished. Without the protection and trade that humans had provided, they had been conquered by stronger neighbors or had died out completely. Sir, we have a communication from the human delegation, announced Zethkar's aide. Put it through. The holographic image of Ambassador Greg Patterson appeared. He was the new human representative, younger than the previous ambassador, but with eyes that seemed much older. Speaker Zethkar, Greg said formally. The Terran Federation is prepared to make our final offer. I am listening. Any species wishing to join the Terran Protectorate may submit an application. We offer advanced medical technology that will extend lifespans by 300%. We offer military protection from all threats. We offer economic systems that will end poverty and hunger permanently. Zethkar's antenna twitched. And in exchange? Complete integration into human-led civilization. Our laws, our values, our leadership. Species that join us will become junior partners in a new galactic order, not members of a council that pretends all voices are equal. The offer was everything the council had feared. Humans were not asking to rejoin galactic society. They were asking alien species to abandon their own societies and join humanity instead. This is unacceptable, Zethkar said. You are asking us to surrender our independence. Greg's expression did not change. Independence is what you have now. How is that working out for you? Before Zethkar could answer, Greg continued. 63 species have already submitted applications. The Altarians were first. The Vorthak Collective followed 6 hours later. Even some of your former council members are asking to join us. The news hit Zethkar like a physical blow. The Altarians had been allies for 300 years. The Vorthak had helped found the council. They are desperate, Zethkar said weakly. They do not understand what they are giving up. They understand perfectly, Greg replied. They are giving up a system that failed them in exchange for one that will keep them alive and prosperous. Speaker, your council had 1,000 years to create a successful galactic civilization. You failed. Now it is our turn. The communication ended, leaving Zethkar alone with the bitter truth. The council had not just lost a member when humans left. They had lost the one species that actually made their system work. In human space, Admiral Lisa Campbell reviewed the applications from alien species wanting to join the Terran Protectorate. Each application was carefully studied. Not all species would be accepted. What are the criteria? asked her aide, Colonel Frank Hayes. Simple, Lisa replied. Can they contribute to human civilization without causing problems? Species that are too aggressive get rejected. Species that are too primitive get rejected. Species that refuse to adapt to human values get rejected. It was a harsh system, but it was also fair. Humans had learned from the Council's mistakes. They would not allow their new civilization to be weakened by species that could not or would not cooperate. How many applications so far? Lisa asked. 147, Frank replied. We have accepted 41 and rejected 23. The rest are still under review. Lisa nodded. The new galactic order was taking shape exactly as humans had planned. Strong, unified, and led by the species that had proven most capable of solving problems and advancing technology. The old galaxy of squabbling councils and endless debates was ending. The new galaxy of human leadership and clear direction was beginning. 2 years after humanity walked away from the peace talks, Speaker Zethkar stood in what remained of the Galactic Council chamber. The great room that once held delegates from 200 species now echoed with emptiness. Only 12 species still sent representatives, and most of them came only to announce they were leaving to join the humans. Zethkar's shell had lost its shine completely. Cracks ran along his arms and legs. His antennae drooped like dying plants. He was old, tired, and broken by the weight of his mistakes. Speaker, said his aide, a young Zethkari named Kliktor. The human delegation has arrived. Zethkar looked up with surprise. Humans? Here? I thought they had abandoned us completely. They request permission to address the council, sir. Grant it. Let us hear what they have to say. The chamber doors opened, and 3 humans walked in. But these were not the same humans who had left 2 years ago. They moved with confidence and power. Their uniforms were made of materials that seemed to change color in the light. Small devices floated around them, clearly advanced technology that no alien species possessed. The leader was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes. I am Ambassador Greg Patterson of the Terran Federation. I am here to make an announcement. Zethkar noticed that Greg did not ask for permission to speak. He simply took control of the chamber as if it belonged to him. Behind him stood Captain Nicole Reed and Dr. Amanda Foster. All 3 humans looked calm and relaxed, like they were visiting a museum instead of meeting with former enemies. The Terran Federation formally announces the opening of our protectorate program to all remaining independent species, Greg said. We offer membership in a new galactic civilization based on efficiency, advancement, and results. A holographic display appeared above the center of the chamber without anyone activating the council's systems. The humans had somehow taken control of the technology simply by being present. The display showed a map of the galaxy, but it looked very different from 2 years ago. Large sections were now colored blue, representing the Terran Protectorate. Green areas showed human territory. Red zones marked regions of conflict and chaos. Only small yellow dots remained to show the territories still loyal to the Council. As you can see, Greg continued, the galaxy has been reorganized under new management. 87 species have joined our protectorate. They enjoy peace, prosperity, and technological advancement that the Council never provided. Zethkar found his voice. You are destroying thousands of years of galactic law and tradition. Greg turned to look at him directly. We are replacing thousands of years of failure with something that actually works. The holographic display changed to show economic data. Production levels in protectorate space were up by 400%. Military conflicts had dropped to almost 0. Disease and hunger had been eliminated on 43 worlds. The species that have joined us are healthier, safer, and more prosperous than they have ever been in their history, Amanda Foster said. We have given them technology that extends lifespans, prevents disease, and makes space travel as easy as walking between rooms. At what cost? Demanded one of the few remaining delegates. a Corvan trader named Gexelic. "The cost of admitting that humans are better at running a galactic civilization than you are," Nicole Reed replied bluntly. "The cost of following human leadership instead of pretending that all species are equally capable." The words hit the chamber like physical blows. For 1,000 years, the Council had been built on the idea that all species were equal partners. Now humans were openly saying that some species were simply better than others. "This is exactly what we feared," Zethkar said. "Human arrogance and domination." "No," Greg corrected. "This is what you should have hoped for. Human competence and leadership." The display changed again, showing the results of the past 2 years. The regions still loyal to the Council were plagued by war, famine, and technological breakdown. The areas under human protection were thriving. "Look at the evidence." "Speaker," Greg said, "your way has failed completely. Our way is succeeding beyond anyone's expectations. Which system would you rather live under?" Before Zethkar could answer, Kliktor stepped forward. The young aide's voice was shaking, but determined. "Ambassador Patterson, the Zethkari Republic formally requests to join the Terran Protectorate." Zethkar spun around in shock. "Kliktor, what are you doing?" "I am saving our people, Speaker. Our worlds are dying. Our technology is breaking down. Our young are leaving to find work in human space. We cannot survive alone anymore." Greg nodded approvingly. "The Zethkari application will be reviewed. If accepted, your people will be relocated to worlds better suited to your biology. You will be given work that matches your natural abilities. Your children will be educated in human schools and will have opportunities you cannot imagine." "And our culture? Our traditions?" Zethkar asked desperately. "Will be preserved in museums and cultural centers," Amanda replied. "But your future will be as part of human civilization, not as an echo of a failed past." More delegates began to step forward. The Corvan trader bowed deeply. "The Corvan Trade Alliance also requests membership." A crystal being flickered its colors in the pattern that meant formal submission. "The Nexus Collective asks to join the Protectorate." One by one, the remaining council members abandoned their old allegiances. They had seen what happened to species that refused human protection. They had watched their neighbors prosper under human leadership while they struggled with problems they could not solve. Zethkar found himself alone on the council platform. The chamber that had once been the center of galactic power was now empty, except for humans and species begging to serve them. "This was your plan all along," Zethkar said bitterly. "You never intended to work with the council. You planned to replace it." Greg smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. "Speaker, we offered you partnership 50 years ago when we first made contact. You chose to treat us as junior members who needed supervision. We offered you cooperation 2 years ago at the peace talks. You chose to offer us slavery instead. So yes," Nicole added, "we have been planning to replace you, but only because you made it clear that working with you was impossible. Every human colony you thought you knew about was a test," Amanda explained. "Every trade agreement was a way to measure your dependence on us. Every military operation was a chance to show you our capabilities. You failed every test." The holographic display showed the final image, a new galactic map. The Terran Federation controlled 3 spiral arms. The Protectorate species were marked as junior partners with protected status. The few remaining independent systems were shown as gray areas marked unaligned territories. "The old galactic order is officially ended," Greg announced. "The Terran Federation is now the dominant power in known space. We offer protection, prosperity, and advancement to any species wise enough to accept our leadership. We offer nothing to those who choose to remain in the past." Zethkar looked around the empty chamber one last time. 2,000 years of Zethkari civilization had led to this moment. His people, his culture, his entire way of life was ending. not through conquest or war, but through simple admission that they were not good enough to survive on their own. "What happens to me?" he asked quietly. "You may retire with honor," Greg replied. "Your people will be well cared for under our protection. You will be remembered as the last speaker of the old council, the one who finally admitted that the humans were right." Zethkar's mandibles clicked one final time. "I suppose that is better than being remembered as the fool who started a war he could not win." "Much better," Greg agreed. As the humans left the chamber, Zethkar remained alone with the weight of his realization. The council had not just made a mistake when they tried to control humanity. They had made the greatest mistake in galactic history. They had treated the most capable species in known space as inferiors, and then acted surprised when those humans proved them wrong. The galaxy now belonged to humanity, not through conquest, but through simple demonstration that humans were better at building and maintaining civilization than anyone else. The mistake had been thinking that good intentions and long traditions were more important than actual results. The age of human dominance had begun, and it had started with 3 simple words. Humans walked away.